So what we're going to go over is to start with 4 reports that a lot of you probably don't know about. I mean, you've probably seen them, but you might not know about them, and some of them are very good. Then we're going to go over this whole custom reporting thing that might be useful to some of you. Memorized reports, which some of you probably already understand, but we'll take it further and talk about report sets. And then logos, which kind of follows report sets, because you can actually have logos associated with memorized reports or with report sets. And then if we have time, grouping, but I have a feeling we're not going to have time for grouping. 1 second, I have to close my door. So let's get started. I have here, this is what a time across items report looks like. The reason why it's valuable is if you had, let's say, a school district or some, let's say, entity that you're tracking that has a lot of sites, areas, or meters, this is a really good way to look at all the data at the same time. So this is a project we did years ago, well, obviously 2005, so a long time ago, but it was for a chain of big box stores. And one thing I thought that was really cool that you could do is you could select a lot of the data, well, actually select it all, but I'm not going to bother. And you can do this conditional formatting, and you can find very quickly, you can look at all of these stores or all the output and see which stores are really maybe are problematic. I know I have blanks in here. I don't know why I do, but that would also be, I guess, a problem. But I mean, this store right here, 253 is a basket case, right? Because sometimes there's a lot of savings. Oh, that's right here, a lot of savings. And sometimes there's a lot of not savings. I mean, it could be that maybe I have a really, poor baseline developed, but it could also be that something's really funny about the store and something that's worth investigating. But by doing this time across items, you can very easily identify stores or schools that are just not performing like they should be. So I'll show you really quickly how to make that time across items report. So the first thing you would do is load data. So we'll try this one. And then I'll create reports. And so this is the time across items. Okay, so I'll create the report. And let's say I wanted to show, I don't think these have been tuned yet, so I'm not going to show savings. But if I wanted to show savings, it would be base minus actual. Instead, I'm just going to show actual data, and I will report it by, I'll do it by meter. Yeah, I'll just do that. And I'll take them all. Yes. And I'm going to do, I think, I'll do kilowatt hours. We'll do kilowatt hours. So some of these meters are gas meters, so they're going to end up having no data at all show up. There isn't that big of a spread in dates here. 1999. So these also with this data, all the meters don't have data necessarily for the same time period, but just see what happens. And I usually don't run it with a chart. Okay, now let's take a look at it. So this is it. I didn't have a lot of meters in the project, but you can see I have all the meters, and I'm showing just a list of kilowatt hours. Okay, so that's it. That's a time across items report. It's really, I think it's a great report. We'll just leave it at that. The next report is this time across scenarios, many line items report. Okay, well, let me just run it and you'll see the value in it. So I'll create reports. Let's think about this, what I want to do. So this is a time across scenarios. And right here's the trick, right here where it says many line items. The default is one line item. We're going to do many line items. This time I want to show savings, so I'll do base and actual. We'll do it by, I got to think about this. We'll do it by, yeah, site's fine. Okay, and there's only one site. and you get this thing. Okay, so this is where you can, these are the different line items. So I don't care about build kilowatts, but maybe I want to see therms, kilowatt hours, convert them both into kBTU. I might want to look at, I think I could do, let's see, where's the rate? I don't have ratios here. I can look at total dollars, I can look at gas dollars, electricity dollars, and gas dollars. If I wanted to, yeah, why not? I'll do cooling degree days as well. This is base 65. Okay, that's not what I tuned on. This is what I tuned on. So we'll just do base 65. And we'll do it for 1995. 5. And that's fine. Okay, so we'll take a look at this report. And so what's nice about this report is it lists a lot of stuff. Okay, so it's a really nice report just to give you a lot of everything: total dollars, electric dollars, gas dollars, kilowatt hours, therms, put it all in the BTUs, cooling degree days and heating degree days, and then I have charts for all of that as well. Okay. So, and this is formatted, as you can see, so it's, in this case, it was 3 graphs per page. But you could have done 4 graphs per page or 2 graphs per page. Okay, so that was a time across items, or time across scenarios, many line items report. Okay, the next one is the baseline breakout report. Let's give it a shot. That would be right here. Okay, so I create reports, and this one is to understand or describe the baseline. That's that one. Okay, and I'm gonna do, I'll do everything, so all meters. And we'll just do 1 year again. 1 year, okay, good. Want to memorize, yes. We'll just keep it. Okay, so we'll take a look at it. This is a, oh boy, that's a lot of stuff to look at. Oh my God. We'll look at a simpler one first. So that would be this one. Okay, so let me explain how this works. The black line is my base year data. Okay, so I have 12 bills, that's my base year data. The blue line is what the baseline is. Or in let's say the IPMVP language, this would be my adjusted baseline. So let's say if we look at this bill here, you'll see that even though my base year data was, 887,000, my baseline was 1,028,000. Quite a big difference. And your customer might ask, well, why is the baseline so high? That doesn't make any sense. Well, that's what this shows you. And this will tell you, well, there's a lot more cooling degree days. There's more days in the bill. And we'll talk about deviation from fit line in a minute. So, and here are the numbers. So you can see this is what my reference year data was, or my base year data. And see, yeah, so this is the one we were looking at right here. So it was 887,000. And then we had all these modifications. Again, more days, more cooling degree days. And then there's this deviation from the fit line, which I'll explain in a second. And then that comes to this. That's the total adjustments, and we end up with this baseline. So these would be like the routine adjustments, I guess you would call them. If you wanted to, in this report, which is kind of neat, you can double click on this and you can see the data that actually went into it. So here I had 29 days in my base year and 33 in my reporting year, or my performance year. And I had that many cooling degree days, now I have this many. So you can see what numbers actually went into this. Also, if you have baseline modifications, this will track that as well. It also track user variables and changes in user variables. Okay, so this deviation from fit line, what that is, let me see, we'll just look at one of these. So we'll look at this one, this is better. So let's just say I tuned this meter. I don't, and we'll just look at it versus cooling degree days. So if we're looking at this bill, the baseline equation is going to calculate a number right here on this line. But the bill wasn't on the line. There's this difference. So the bill is actually higher, right? So if you're going to compare reference year data, that's this, to whatever the performance period baseline is. Let's say there was more cooling degree days, you might end up comparing to this point on the line. So we're going to end up with this many kilowatt hours per day. That is, and then you got to deal with number of days. But also we have to add in this difference here, and that's what I meant by deviation from fit line. Okay, because the reference period data was not on the fit line. So that's what this is about. Okay. All right, so that's kind of, I think that's a great report. It's not one I would show my customers if I was an ESCO, unless they had questions like, I don't understand this baseline, what's going on? Then it's a great report to bring out. And I think it explains it kind of graphically and kind of simply. These are all the changes, and this is how they're all working. But along with this, we also have one on dollars. So this one does everything the same, but also deals with rates. And here you can see apparently the rates went down in this project. And this one, so this one, this is the therms. This one is, what a mess. This is crazy. I don't even believe this report. Let's see, it's saying that I had, oh, I do believe it. Wow, look at that. So this is a case where I ended up having 2 bills in 1 month. This is a kind of a different topic. It has nothing to do with making reports, but that's why I have these zeros in here. So I have 2 bills in 1 month. That's why this report looks like garbage. I see. I see. Apparently also we have a baseline modification in here. But it also, if you look at the dollar one, it also adds in changes in rates, how the rates are affecting the cost. So you start with reference year costs or base year costs. This is my baseline costs, and these are the changes that were made to get to it. All right. Well, that's really interesting. Okay, so let's move on. I hope that was interesting. It's a great report. I think you should play with it. It was the baseline breakout, and let me show you again how you get it. So it was create reports, and remember, this report is all about, it's not about tracking savings, it's about understanding the baseline. So that's why it's there. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The savings report card. Well, so I was practicing for this webinar last night, and I found a bug, which is unfortunate, but I'll show you where it is. That's too bad, because this is a really beautiful report, and unfortunately, it's not looking so good. So here it is, the savings report card. So this down here is what we're supposed to be seeing. This is baseline, actual, or sim actual, and then this is the savings is down here in the red. That's what we're supposed to see. So we'll do this for, yeah, I'll do it for that site. There's only one site, 1 year. So the concept behind this report is it's more of a dashboard. People seem to really like those nowadays, and I think they're pretty neat, actually. Okay, so we'll go look at it. So here it is. So it's showing the base, actual, the target. Apparently I have a target in there. Yeah, so you can see that. Here's the savings per month. So you can see how much is electric, how much is gas. So it's per fuel type. This is just a cumulative average or cumulative sum of that electric and gas broken out. And this is where the bug is. So this is supposed to be baseline, actual, and savings. Okay, the next report is it's custom reports. So some of you, I mean, these are great reports. There's a lot you can do with them, but some of you want to do something different, and that's just fine. And really, the best thing to do then is just to get the data out of Metrix into Excel, and then you can do whatever you want to do with it. So that's what this data for custom report is. And there's two kinds. There's a time across and time down. Here, let me go down to that. So that is this one right here. So the time across has data going across, and it's really good for listing, let's say, kilowatt hours, kilowatts, dollars, therms, things like that. That's really what it's good for. The time down is really good for showing our squared, CVRMSE, mean bias, the coefficients and constants, balance points, things like that. Okay, so let's take a look at it. I'll run one of these. I'll run the time down. So let's see. So we want the time down. We'll do the entire project. And when you're running the time down, you only need one bill. You don't need all 12. And I don't remember if you needed this one, or this one. It's been like, I've been working with ReportMaker for, geez, maybe 15 years, and I still don't remember. So I just do both. I'll memorize that too. Okay, so it's right here. This is the data. Hopefully you can understand all of these. So utility type, well, maybe you don't. So B, C, D, that's probably demand. That's consumption. I don't remember what, oh, that's bill demand. Okay, so I think you'll make sense of most of this, but you'll see in here somewhere, there we've got the balance points. That's my heating and cooling balance points. What's my R squared value? These are my, so these I don't really care about. So I don't have any variables, so I don't need that. But I have my fit constant, so my constant and my coefficients. These are my tuning coefficients. Didn't have user variables, so I didn't need those. And then I don't need this either. So this is showing me the baseline target, sim actual, and all of that. But I could get that in the time across report too. So I never really used these. You might find use for them, but I never did. The main thing I found use for was this stuff right here. So these ones and the balance points. Okay. All right. So the time I run this report, sometimes every once in a while, an ESCO will hire us to do a lot of tunings for them. And then I'll run this report, and then I'll get rid of the columns I don't need, and then I make a report just showing here's all the tunings. So here's all my balance points. I keep these two columns. I don't need these two either. This is my R squared value, constant coefficients, and then at the very end I have the CVRMSE, the mean bias error, down here. Okay, so and so I'll put those together, and then I'll have the last column, I'll add one just for notes where I describe what I did. I deselected one bill because it was way out and it appears to be an outlier or something like that. Okay, so that's it for these different reports. Let's see what's next on our list of things to do. Memorize reports. Okay, so you saw I was memorizing reports while I was making these, and you probably already understand how that works, but I'll show you quickly anyway. If you click on fast reports, here are my memorized reports. In fact, you can just show the memorized reports. There they are. Okay. Let's say I wanted to run one of these again. Which one would be fast to do? How about the baseline breakdown? No, that one took forever. We'll do this custom report. So if I want to run that again, I could just click run, and it will go and make me another one, just like the last one. So it remembered all of the inputs that I did, okay? So the value of this is if you have to make a report every month for a customer or every quarter and you don't remember all the clicks and everything, you can memorize the report, okay? In fact, you can memorize reports for different clients. One's for this school district, one's for the city of whatever, because they all might have different reports that they want. Okay, but there's more to it. So so let's say I wanted to look at a report. Let's see, we'll do this one, time across items. If you go to view edit, these are, right now, if nothing's checked, it means it'll just run the report, won't ask any questions. But if you check a box, let's say I'll check 2 of them and not the other one, and then you run it, it's going to ask you those questions. Huh? Well, usually it works. Apparently this time, let's see what happens. Okay, good. I think that didn't work because I had a different project. So that's my guess. And then, so these are my 2 questions. Which items? And I think that's it. I don't know if this was a very good example, but that is the idea, that you can go into fast reports, go to your memorized reports, and you can choose what do you want to show, what do you want to show it for. So let's say you're doing this baseline breakdown and you're doing it for 2 different school districts, then you do want to check this because you don't have the same sites, areas, and meters in both school districts because they have different school names. So you would check that so you can select the right sites, areas, and meters. And let's say every year you're going to want to do it again, maybe, so then you would click on years and then it will ask you what year of data do you want to do. Okay, so the next thing is there are report sets. So here's a set, and I'll just call this my webinar set. Webinar set. Okay, and then in reports, you can select which reports you want. And these are just the memorized reports you have. Okay, so baseline breakdown, that one took forever. We'll do them both anyway. Click OK, and that's it. And then I can run the set, okay? And what that will do is it will run all the reports in that set at once. So if I just clicked run, it will run both. The value of the sets, there's a couple values. One is you can have different sets associated with different customers. This school district, they wanted these 4 reports. This city, they wanted these 5 reports. That's what's neat. But the other thing that's really nice is you can, and this is our next topic, is you can deal with a page setup. You can have separate page setups. A page setup would be a logo. So you can have the school district's logo show up on all the reports for this set, and it will automatically put them on while it's running this set. And then for the city, which had a different set, you can have the city's logo show up, okay? So let's see how we can go about doing that. I believe the way to do that is you go to ReportMaker settings, cancel this. You go to the settings, and you go to page setup, okay? And we're going to do the advanced setup. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'm just going to call this the webinar. And so this is what we're seeing now. When you make reports, you're going to see the Metrix logo, which you probably don't want. So you click on page setup, and we go to the header. I want to go to the custom header. Okay, and let's say I want to put in a different logo, so I can go, oh, shoot. I'm pretty sure this was the button. Well, I'll put it on this side over here then. There. Okay, so now I got to go find me a file. And there's our logo. So I'll take a JPEG. I think that's a good one. All right. Now, if I did that, it's going to be too big. I already know it's too big, but we'll look at it anyway. So see, that's too big. I don't think you want your logo that big. So we're going to make it smaller. So I go to header footer, custom header, and I've got that selected, and I think it's this one. And I'm going to make it just a 1/2 inch. So about a 1/2 inch, and I think that'll do it. That's too small, but you got the idea. So you can add your own logos, and not only that, if you wanted to put in the date and the time and all that stuff, you can do that as well. So custom footer, and you can put in the date and time, and type something in here like Jones School District. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, so I've done that. I'm going to close the print preview. I'm okay with that. Now, if I go back to, so I'll click OK, and I go back to my fast reports. I go to this webinar set, the one I did. I go to view edit, and I don't want the regular page set up. I want the webinar page set up. And then when I run this, it's going to put in that Abraxas logo and the Jones School and all of that, everything that's in this report. Also, you could do the same, not just with the sets, but you can also do it with the reports. So if I go view edit, you can do it here as well. Yeah, so, okay. What if you don't want to make a report just by site, area, or meter? Okay, you have a school district, you just want to do the elementary schools. Or you just want to do the ball fields, all the outdoor meters, because they're all just lighting or something like that. You can do that, and that's what this whole grouping thing is about. There's a few things you can do with grouping. One is you can aggregate so in this case, I aggregated all the elementary schools together. And so here I can see, this is just comparing years, but I could have shown baseline and actual also for all the schools as a unit. You could also filter. So this is, here I'm just looking at dollars per square foot for just the elementary schools, but I'm ignoring the middle schools and high schools and admin buildings. I thought I had, oh yeah, I do have another slide. Or you can add up all the different groups. So this is showing savings, I guess it's by year, but for elementary schools, junior high, high schools, I guess we're doing a bad job, and then admin buildings. So the grouping is actually a really neat concept, and I'll show you how you do that. That's in Metrix itself. So in here, I went to the project view, and you can go to report groups, and you can add a new report group. So I'm going to call, this is some hodgepodge collection, but I'm going to call it region. So it's region. And now, so that's the group. That's like the umbrella type classification, I guess. And then I have these different subgroups, and one might be the West. And so if I have any that are in the West, these are all in the Midwest. Let's say there's some colleges in the West, and no one knows where Dodd is. So we'll say these two are in the West. Okay, and I could have done this by area or by meter if I wanted to. I could have just done it at a meter level. It's up to you how you want to handle it, but I'm going to just do it by site. And then I can add another group. Let's say that is East. Is that right? No, I did that wrong. I want to add another subgroup, and that would be East. And so that might be, boy, these are all in the middle of the country, but we'll just pretend those two are in the East. And maybe I'll add another subgroup, which would be the middle. And so I'll just pick the rest. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's it. So that's my groups and my subgroups. And you can add other groups if you wanted to. So let's say I want to add another group, and this could just be construction type. Or it could be, I don't know, sometimes the financial people have their own ways of looking at buildings, but I'm just going to do this one, construction type. And then I could add one for, these are the brick buildings. And that might be these first three. And then I also have some wood. Oh, it's not right. So this one. I also have some wood buildings, wood. And that might be these three. And then I also have some glass buildings. Or no, let's just say trailers. So that would be the rest. Okay. So you can have more than one group type. Okay. All right. So once you've done that, let me save this file. You've got to save. If you ever make reports in ReportMaker, let's say you make a report and the numbers look funny, you go back to Metrix and you want to, you make some changes because there was a mistake, and you can't just go back and make another report. You've got to save your project and you have to reload data. Oops. Okay, and there. So that's that. I don't need this anymore. And I go back to ReportMaker, and I'm going to cancel that, and I'll create reports. So first we'll look at filtering. Time across items. Okay, and so the items are, let's say, the different meters. And I could filter by either region. Let's say I want to do region and I just want to see the ones in the middle of the country. Okay. And I'll show, we'll keep it simple, we'll just show actual usage. And these are the sites that are in the middle of the country, just those ones. Okay, so it skipped all the other ones. So that's how, that's how grouping can filter. So let me just run that real quick, and then we'll look at one other usage of grouping, and I guess we'll call it a day. Memorize the report, no. And well, that looks good. Here, oh, I don't have any data for 95. That's a shame. It would have worked. I just picked some wrong dates. That was too bad. Okay, we'll do another report. I think I can do this. Yeah, time across items again. This time I'm going to report by subgroup. Instead of showing, let's see, the time across items. So instead of filtering and saying I just want to look at the ones in the middle of the country, what I'm doing here is I'm going to add up all the east ones and show that, add up all the middle ones, show that, and add up all the west ones and show that. And this would work best actually if you showed baseline minus actual. I just don't have these meters tuned, so I can't do that. So we're going to have to do it this way, and see, the data is all after 96. That's why this didn't work. So we'll go with 97. All right, let's see what happens. So there we go. So I have this is my total. Maybe I don't want a total. So I have the east, middle, and west. Okay. So it summed up all those meters that were in each group. That's grouping. So that was a real quick, fast rundown of a lot of ReportMaker features. You guys, thanks a lot. I hope this was useful. I hope to see you all next month. Bye.